was maybe something the way they acted, and it wasn't just that. But then.
Okay. I get what you're saying. Like when he went in, he said like that, like people aren't just like putting them down because they're black. Like they have to have a reason behind it. Like they must have done something wrong to him.
That's what he thought.
That's what he thought. But when he like turned, like when he colored his skin, he realized like I haven't done anything to these people, but just like the sole fact that my skin is colored is why these people are being rude and like obnoxious to me.
Suspicious, yeah.
Yeah, not for any other reason.
I think that's the whole theme of the book, because it's saying, like, in the South, the entire thing is judging you on the color of your skin, completely not on who you are or anything.
And shade of your skin also.
Oh yeah, that's true, because like the light black people were treated with more respect.
Yeah,
they turned dark blacks versus white blacks.
That was a white stereotype or something, wasn't it?
But the blacks, the Negroes believed it too.
Yeah, because
like
it didn't force fed it, right? No, they said they're more honest or something.
So dumb.
What?
Okay, I have a question.
Sorry, Miss Bufkin, passive racist.
At the beginning of the book, like towards the beginning when he first decided he was going to do it, he called like Adele Jackson and George Leviton from Sepia magazine, and like his trade was like, if you will pay for me to color my skin, I'll give you a story for your magazine. Do you think that was a fair, like, do you think that it was an even trade? Do you think one person got ripped off? Like, after reading the whole book, like, how do you feel about their agreement?
I think it's very interesting because at the end, they told her to kill the thing. They said, you don't really have to write any stories if you don't want to for us anymore. And that was really interesting because, this guy went through this month ordeal or whatever,
a little longer,
yeah. For this, just specifically for this paper, and they, like, said they realized, how hard it was for him to go through, and said he didn't have to do it anymore, so.
Right.
I think that if you're asking if it's fair, I mean, I don't think anybody really got ripped off because it's only I mean, they paid for some medication,
Right.
They didn't buy a few cars. I mean, that's bad.
Well, no, but what, like, I'm not saying, like, money-wise was it fair, but just, like, after all, like, do you think, like, he went through more than, like, just giving them a story? Like, did they realize it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, like, the story, and he used them for the money.
Right.
It wasn't, like, they both got what they wanted out of it. He was going to do that story no matter what. He wanted to see what it was. And he just managed to get the magazine to help fund it so he wouldn't lose any more personal, like...
And I think he would also argue that he got the much better deal because of, like, the experience, you know? Because he seemed very, like, happy with it, especially towards the end of the book. Like, yeah, definitely shaken up at, all, the weariness of it and the magnitude of all that happened, but he was glad to have, like, seen both sides, you could say. Okay. Here's another question. I felt the beginnings of great loneliness, not because I was a Negro, but because the man I had been, the self I knew, was hidden in the flesh of another. After reading this quote, do you think John Griffin still felt the project was a good idea? Why or not? Why not?
Well, I think he still thought it was a good idea, but he was saying he now has some reservations about it. I mean, he's already started to go through with it. He's not going to change his mind now. But he realizes this is a lot more serious and really will affect me at multiple levels by doing this. But I think he doesn't really change his mind.
Yeah, I think that quote just shows that, it doesn't show that he thinks that the whole project's a bad idea. I think it just shows the impact it's having on his psyche and stuff.
Yeah. That makes sense, like how it doesn't really like change his like overall perspective on what he's done, because like he realizes that in the long run it like the experiences and like everything that he got out of it is so great. But I think what Tafaz said about like his psyche, like it was just like really starting to take a toll on his emotions and how he was handling with the situation.
Well, and I mean, this quote was also like right after he got, his skin changed. He looked at himself in the mirror and he just, oh my god. So, yeah.
Alright, well, what incident in Griffin's experiences strikes you as the most obscene and why?
I think the rudest person to me was the bus. Like, that was in the beginning of the story when he was getting his bus ticket, and she just totally like, was, I don't know if they found out if he was not supposed to be in there or not. Okay, well anyways.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about? And she just threw the money like at him and it went all over the floor and stuff, and I was surprised he kept his temper. What do you think about his reaction, and what do you think about hers? And
Yeah, that was.
I mean, I thought that was a really interesting few pages,
Yeah.
especially the officer in the army that boarded after.
Yeah, I thought that was
and
cool.
he was really nice. He was like, he
Right.
wasn't rude to him at all or anything like
They
that.
he treated him like equal. I mean, the army is the most like desegregated like thing in America.
And
I
not
just-
only that, the army like teaches you to respect everyone for, you know, whoever they are. And
Right.
It doesn't matter religion.
Yeah, I guess
race.
he included that for a reason then, to show that they didn't have.
I
this
thought
racism.
that was that
Yeah.
was like a little bit of hope, and it's cool. Yeah,
One-
it's more Matrix going.
Like one of the situations that I thought was like really gruesome or whatever is like through his entire time how he said how he had to like improv his whole situation and how he was just like hitchhiking all through, and he said that like I was really really surprised that white people were so welcome like into letting me like hitchhike with him. He said, but at the bottom of it all, like all they wanted to do was talk about like my sexuality
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
it
That
was
was
like,
weird. That
really
one.
yeah,
weird.
I
He
thought that
kept
was
on-
so creepy.
He
Like
kept
he,
on going on though, like
Yeah.
every single
was a
person.
long-
yeah,
It was
that-
kind of annoying.
Yeah.
honestly.
but if you really said like every single person, like it wasn't them trying to be nice at all. Like they thought it was some like sub creature who had like
Yeah.
really weird like just
It
motives.
was super weird when the guy wanted to see his, excuse my language, Miss Bufkin, penis.
I don't have to excuse you
Yeah.
for that.
I don't know
Right,
if
which
that's
is like
appropriate
how
talk
he
for-
just
but
thought it was
No, it's
just
PC.
like.
it's PC.
I mean, I just was so blown away. I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" Like they really thought they were like animals who had like
Yeah.
completely different motives and all aspects of life. Like they were just completely had different minds. I was just like,
Just
"Oh my
sex
gosh."
machines. pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
The funny thing about
Pretty
it is
much.
it applies more to the whites than it does to.
Yeah,
Right, that
like-
was
Right.
that was
Because I
Exactly.
mean, like they're the ones who put up signs in the restroom saying, "We're
Right
looking
in the
for black girls
restroom.
to have sex with."
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see black people putting up signs in the white
No.
ladies' restrooms saying the same thing or whatever.
Or even you don't see black people putting that up for like other black
Yeah,
people. You
at
know,
all.
like it was solely like white people taking advantage of blacks, and yet we thought that they were just like crazy. Ugh, I don't know. I thought
But
that
also,
was disgusting.
yeah, that also kind of reminds me of the bus driver when they're all getting off the bus, and the bus driver says, "Watch your step to every single white, you know, passenger," and some black lady goes right in and she thinks, well, I'm sure she doesn't think he was saying it to her, but she said thank you, and none of the white people said it at all, and it just showed like, you know, the decency of the black person over the white person, you know. So,
Right.
well, the passengers were being rude by not responding to this bus driver, and bus driver was being rude, not, you know, saying watch your step to these elderly black people who, you know, just
Are being
common
appreciative
courtesy,
of
you know.
the bus
So-
driver. Right.
I found that, you know, pretty interesting and rude. So,
Yeah, well, what I thought was, like, he went through all sorts of stuff as a Negro, but I thought he took the most abuse as
afterwards,
a white man afterwards.
Right.
Like,
that's
that,
because he made it national, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Made it
But, like,
global.
his mom received hate calls, and she had to move to Mexico because, like, she was
Right.
being harassed
That's
that much.
when I read that. When I like found out that he was like moving his family to Mexico, I was like, oh my gosh.
I thought he
But
should have
that
done that a lot earlier, actually. I think he waited too long. He was being way too optimistic about living in Mansfield. Because he should have expected that.
well,
Well,
you know,
but-
he didn't. He only. It said he got 8 hate letters out of 6,000,
Yeah.
you know, letters.
But still, that one hate group threatened to castrate him.
Yeah, but he had police, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's like,
I can't even
they got the
imagine being
effigy
his
out.
family.
Yeah, they got the effigy out that
Yeah,
shows that the police supported racism.
I mean,
So-
like that was crazy, and I was like trying to like put myself in like his wife's shoes, just cause like I mean I'm a girl, so
Yeah.
putting myself in, and I just was trying to think about like my family and people like out to get me because my husband
Things she
tried to
put
like.
up with, yeah.
I mean, I can even imagine like from the very beginning of the book is talking